It's Nick from Lake Geneva Country Meats, and today we're talking whiskey at Great Northern Distilling. I'm here at Great Northern Distilling in Plover, Wisconsin to learn a little bit more from whiskey, and I have someone great to tell me about both a local distillery and whiskey in general. It's Brian from Great Northern Distilling. How you doing?
Good. Good to meet you, Nick.
Thanks for having me up here.
Absolutely.
So, can you tell me a little bit about Great Northern Distilling, how you got your start?
Yeah, we really got started as an idea back in February of 2012 when I was sitting over in the Twin Cities with a group of friends at a mixology bar there called the Marvel Bar, enjoying great cocktails and having a good time. And one of my friends had just read an article in Popular Mechanics magazine on craft distilling and said, boy, wouldn't that be something cool to do. So it was really my light bulb moment, and at that point he and I started writing a business plan and touring a bunch of other craft distilleries to figure out what we wanted to be when we grew up. And then in November 2013 we started distilling, and I had quit my job to work on it full time. And from there, we ended up on the market through General Beverage at around April of 2014. So.
Nice. So obviously there's a lot of detail that goes into making distilled products like this.
Yeah.
But I think you're most well known for like your Vanguard whiskey. Could you just give us an overview of kind of the process of you go from grain to something in the bottle like that?
Yeah. So one of our values here at Great Northern is to source as many of our ingredients from within 150 miles of the distillery as possible. And really, our Vanguard whiskey really epitomizes that. We use all our grain is coming from a small mill down in Lone Rock, Wisconsin called Lonesome Stone Milling. And what's nice about Lonesome Stone is they can get us to direct farmer sourcing. So I know all of the wheat and corn that we're using in this whiskey is coming from Terry Sprecher and his family outside of Spring Green. And then all of the rye that's in there is coming from Dave Recker and his family near Reedsburg. We're also using malts that are made in Wisconsin, malted barley coming from Breese Malts up in Chilton, Wisconsin. And they do great malted grains for craft brewers across the state and across the country, as well as craft distilleries. So we're really pleased to have them as suppliers. But what makes our Vanguard whiskey uniquely Wisconsin is more than just the ingredients. While it is technically a wheated bourbon, it's a really low corn wheated bourbon. So only 55% corn, whereas most Kentucky bourbons are 70, 75, 80% corn. So it's a little less sweet spirit than a typical Kentucky bourbon, but we make up the rest of that mash bill with that wheat, barley, and rye that kind of skews its flavor profile a little bit toward a Canadian whiskey. And the idea behind it is I wanted a whiskey that was somewhere between Kentucky and Canada to really define what it means to be a Wisconsin whiskey.
Well, cool. I think maybe we'd like to get a barrel of that down at Lake Geneva Country Meats, so maybe we could try some?
Absolutely. We can certainly get a couple of our primo barrels selected and get it narrowed down to 3, and then we can choose from there.
All right, sounds good. We'll try some bourbon next, some whiskey, I'm sorry. All right, we're in the barrel room, that's what you call this, right?
Yep.
Got barrels aging, and I noticed these are a lot smaller than some of the other barrels you see elsewhere. Can you kind of tell us what's going on with that?
Yeah, so this is really our technique for still being able to be a grain to glass distillery that's young. So these 10-gallon barrels actually extract their colors and flavors much more quickly than a larger barrel. So the standard Kentucky size barrel is 53 gallons and can sometimes be 5 or 6 years before they'll be ready for bottling. Whereas this is our 10-gallon barrel, extracts those colors in about 9 months to a year because of the higher proportion of charred wood for every gallon of spirit. Now what that gets me is a really nice, smooth, very drinkable, enjoyable whiskey. What it'll never get me is something as complex as what's going to come out of a much longer aged spirit. If I left the whiskey in here to age as long as it would need to have those changes happen, it would just over oak and be too resinous or woody.
Well, that's interesting. You see some barrels that might be good for us?
Absolutely. You know, we have about 10 or 15 barrels that are right at that 1 year mark right now, and the distillers and I have selected 3 for us to try.
Well, perfect. Let's go try some.
Excellent.
We've tasted the 3 barrels. I think we have a winner. It's barrel number 134. Lucky. What do you think of this one?
You know, of the 3 barrels that we chose, 134 and the distillers actually agreed that it really is the most balanced of the 3. Cask 146 had a little bit more of the vanilla caramel sweetness, but not as much wood as we would have liked. 149 had just a little bit of a more or gentle flavor, kind of receded a little bit more. But 134 had really the nice kind of wood notes, a little bit of leather and spice coming through at cask strength, and that nice caramel vanilla flavor that you expect from a bourbon whiskey, with that round smoothness and easy drinkability of kind of our Wisconsin whiskey flavor profile.
Yeah, I think you sold yourself short when you said the smaller barrels take some of the complexity out, because I think this has got that complexity. I think it shows a lot of character. I think it's really delicious. I look forward to sharing it with everybody at Lake Geneva Country Meats soon.
Excellent. I can't wait till we get to the second barrel.